up that old fossil.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vandemarker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
Kenton, we do have another episode of The Mandalorian to talk about, but we've also had a ton of Star Wars news, including the new Ahsoka teaser trailer.
Yep. Breaking news.
Breaking news, not on the moment, but today as we're recording this has just come out on Good Friday. So I have not seen it. You've watched it a few times. Let's watch it and then we'll talk about it.
Something's coming. Something dark. I sense it.
This is a new beginning. For some, war. For others, power.
It's been a while. Things have changed. I started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire. We have to prepare for the worst. The Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
Very nice. Oh, that's exciting.
It's basically a live-action Rebels sequel.
Kind of, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Wow. That's a lot to take in. There's a lot of Rebels elements in this. I saw Chopper. I saw what's her name?
Sabine.
The what?
Hera. Sabine.
Yeah,
Hera.
Sabine. Oh, is that Sabine, the girl with the purple hair?
With the
Long
punk hair, yeah, that's her.
Oh, it does say Sabine in the on the subtitles
does it?
too. Yeah. Okay, it's been a while. She says, "Yeah, you're right." Okay, there you go. It's Sabine. So it is all the
Chopper.
Rebels. So do we have Ezra? No.
Yes,
No Ezra
we do.
yet. Oh, do we?
Yes, he's in there.
Where is he?
I believe that is Ezra in the little hologram.
Oh, the 5 holograms here. Okay.
Yeah, did you right near the end? There's a hologram, and it appears to be him.
Oh, you're not talking about the one with what's her name?
Oh no! It's later. It's toward the end. You'll see. There's a
a little.
little.
I see. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah, that's him.
That's why
I
she's
think.
talking to him. That's right. It is.
Yeah, and Mon Mothma. That's a huge reveal.
Yeah, that was a big one too. Yeah.
Oh, and Thrawn, the back of Thrawn's head.
The back of Thrawn's head.
Pretty good.
This does look to be like a direct continuation from the Rebel storyline where Thrawn was the villain in the last season, and then Ezra and Ian went off. They got eaten by space whales and went off wherever they went.
Yeah.
And so now clearly Ezra is still alive, and that's cool. It's good to see these characters in live action. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I got that. There's the dude with the beard who just seems like he's a badass. And when they're, I noticed at first I thought it was Kurt Russell, but it's not. But there's a scene where they're having a lightsaber fight, and they appear to be in the world within worlds, where they're inside. There's like drawings on the wall around them.
That's the blue kind of thing around them.
Yeah.
Is that
So
where that's where I think Ezra traveled to at some point?
Right. That's right.
Okay.
So it looks like we're going to go into another dimension, which always opens up the horrible possibility of time travel.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not. But they do appear to be within that world within worlds. And there was one other thing. The Mon Mothma scene made me excited to see it because this is post Return of the Jedi. She's still with us. She has not been taken. Now her husband is nowhere in the.
He's not celebrating his damn days.
That's right. It must be his day of days during that hologram scene. And what else was in there? There's a bunch. There's really a lot of stuff in this video.
I'm looking
in
at
this
the
trailer.
scene where they see that
Yeah.
that Sith Lord, whoever he is. It's very much like
Oh.
the opening scene in Star Wars, where you see Darth Vader going through the hallway, choking some rebels, throwing them around. So he's just
Rogue
pulling
One.
Vader. Yeah,
Looks like-
who is
yeah,
this guy
Rogue
though?
One.
Who is this Sith Lord?
I don't know. I like him. There's also a woman who's wielding a red lightsaber who comes bursting through the
She
door.
looks like she looks like what's it called? What are those guys called that follow Darth Vader? The exterminators or whatever they are.
The yeah,
Enforcers. The intimidators. The
Inquisitors.
yeah, thank you. Something like that.
Yeah, the Inquisitors.
there you go.
Yeah, I apparently today they also at Celebration they teased the Acolyte. That has not been released, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's some kind of connection. Like the Acolyte takes place before even Phantom Menace. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we're going like, hey, we got some dark side stuff going on in Ahsoka and in the Acolyte. So that'll be interesting.
What about the direct reference to Heir to the Empire?
Oh, yes, that's right. They dropped the title of the book. Well, Timothy Zahn just sold some more books, so that's good.
I know, but that's like, is that a hint of like we're going to go down that path of Mara Jade and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, well, not all of it. I don't think we're going to go the whole way. Although, wouldn't it be interesting to do a Star Wars trilogy that takes, now that we have the technology to show the actors as they would have appeared, you could actually do a trilogy between where Return of the Jedi left off and where J.J. Abrams did Force Awakens. You could actually do a live action Star Wars trilogy with look-alike CGI actors.
Yeah, absolutely you could.
So maybe, I mean, who knows where we're likely to go with this. But we already we couldn't do the twins storyline anymore because we figured out, so we went as far as that goes in Force Awakens. Like there's stuff that can't be added in because
we could see a baby Kylo Ren somewhere in this.
Yeah, that's right, for sure.
Like a Han and Leia with a little baby, something like that going on.
Yep, that's for sure possible. But there's lots of places they could go with this. But I like it. This looks good. It looks like a good add-on to where the universe is.
And it's well timed. It's August, only a few months after The Mandalorian ends, so they're kind of like piecing us out very well. Some of these scenes are really cool. Like the scene of Hera with Chopper yelling and waving his arms all over the place. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Balin. Who's Balin? I think that's the name of the cool guy. No, that's someone else talking. I thought it was John Krasinski for a second. Kind of like John Krasinski, or it looked like Pacey.
Who?
Pacey from Dawson's Creek, Joshua Jackson.
Oh.
He's done some dark roles. He's in the new remake of Fatal Attraction. He's playing the Michael Douglas in that. So he's got gray hair now and he's looking old. So that kind of reminded me of. But it's very cool. We
need a Fatal Attraction remake, by the way.
No, but this is what Paramount Plus is giving us. So.
Way
to go, Paramount. They did a Godfather. No, they did a movie about making the Godfather because nobody would dare do a Godfather remake. But now they're doing this. Anyway, sorry. So this looks good. I'm excited. I said that already.
Yeah, me too. By the way, Dan, they're so desperate for content. They're actually doing a Grease prequel for The Rise of the Pink Ladies or something like. Have you seen the trailer for that?
I saw a still of it on my Amazon Fire Stick, and that's it.
Nobody needs this at all. No one wants it. No one
idea.
asked for it. Nobody needs it. Nobody's going to enjoy it.
But this is what's happening is that this Star Wars specifically, and I guess Marvel in a way, have caused this by every studio is looking at all their old properties, all their nostalgic properties and saying, how can we bring this back? How can we make this relevant to the audience? Star Wars is accomplishing it. I would say Star Trek is also doing it with Picard. It's not as bad as the previous season. I've been watching Picard. It's not bad. But I think they use the same word. Okay, so we should get onto the Mandalorian. Is there anything else you want to say about this before we go?
No, there's also something else, and that is I sent you the link to the Hollywood Reporter, 3 new Star Wars films.
Yeah, tell me what this is about.
Have a look. I mean, I started seeing this. I guess this came out of Star Wars Celebration as well, and it appears so. Star Wars is going back to the theater, to the movie theater, which we knew it'd only be a matter of time before that happens, and sure enough, and there are 3 new films coming out. One is Dave Filoni, and then there's 2 other celebrated directors who I can't remember. That's how
James
celebrated it is.
Mangold. James
Oh
Mangold,
yes, right.
who did Logan, and he's done a
And,
couple other good movies.
and the new Indiana Jones he did
Oh, is that
as
right?
well.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes. So he's gonna do one, and then who's the third one?
Charmin Obaid Chinoy, and that one apparently is going to star Daisy Ridley, so it's going to be a Ray story.
Yes, a Ray sequel, 15 years after the end of the last movie.
Oh, interesting.
So,
but what about Rogue? What about the Rogue Squadron movie? Is that still happening?
Probably not.
Oh no.
I also think Filoni's movie, if you probably have it in front of you there, I believe that is going to be a culmination of the Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew storylines, all in one big adventure.
I see.
Yeah, I think that's where that's going. I think we speculated something like that last time we talked.
Is it? Yeah, you said. Well, you did speculate that it would conclude, like the Mandalorian storyline would conclude, but not necessarily the Ahsoka stuff. Do you think the Mandalorian won't be involved in this movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna. I do. I think it'll be the culmination of a story. I don't think they can kill the character, the Mandalorian. I don't think I think little baby Grogu's story will continue for 800 years, just like Yoda. I think there's things like that. I don't know. I'm not sure what they have in mind. They clearly have a plan in mind.
Yeah, it does say. It says here that Filoni's feature is said to be in the so-called present, as it'll be a climactic event for the current Star Wars series, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and the upcoming Ahsoka.
All right.
Says, Mangold described his project as a biblical epic that would look at the origins of the Force and be set 25,000 years before any of the timelines and stories told by the movie so far. Wow.
Yeah.
That
sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Like we're remember when we said Star Wars is pear-shaped?
Yeah.
There's like all this stuff in the middle. They're like nothing. Well, we're finally building it out.
Yeah. And he said, what about 10 Commandments about the dawning of the Force? That's a great idea.
That's
and then it
great.
says, Obi Chinoy, meanwhile, said she's attracted to the idea of a hero's journey and keen on immersing herself in the focus on a Jedi Academy and Jedi Master. So that's where Rey, I guess, is going to come in.
Yeah, pretty good.
So Rey starts the Jedi Academy.
A new Jedi Academy, a new Jedi Order. Like the main, I think the main issue that they're going to have with that kind of story is to not be repetitive. It cannot be the Luke story all over again. It can't be like it's that the hardest part of that will be to give us some new surprises around a Jedi Academy.
Yeah, that's true. But we'll see. I think they'll accomplish that. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think we're at
know.
the point. Remember when we said they're going to do movies with these characters again, and by then everyone will be nostalgic for Rey and Finn and everybody else. And I think we're like, they've waited long enough. It's like we're at the point where the kids that saw those films are interested in where those storylines are. At this point, like you'd never probably Poe Dameron will show up. Like we'll see these other characters participating, and I think there is nostalgia for those, even though for the most Star Wars fans that were around before those movies, I think are kind of don't like those movies. But I think folks that were kids when they saw them, just like Star Wars always does, I think they like those movies. So I think there'll be a built-in audience for that.
There'll be something there for sure. And we'll go see it because it's Star Wars. But that's interesting that they're going to single movies. They're not doing trilogies anymore. It's just going to be like, here's some, like, it's going to continue on, like series and movies probably working together, similar to what Marvel's doing, I guess.
Yeah.
And they'll just try to keep the releases regular in the theaters, like probably one per year, I would imagine, at least. So, all right, well, cool.
And there's one more thing we should just even mention. This isn't the Indiana Jones podcast, but there's a new Indiana Jones trailer for the Dial of Destiny. And it's, once again, it builds on some of the scenes we've already seen, includes some new scenes, a few thrilling scenes for sure that they show in there. There's more of an indication. There's no indication of time travel. There is some indication of being able to change the past.
Okay.
And so, and there is indeed a dial that we get to see in the trailer. Like, okay, let's see what they're going to do with this. I think I said that the worst thing they could do is time travel in Indiana Jones, and maybe it's not literal time travel. Maybe not. Maybe they're just fighting over some little dial of destiny, and we could see how that changes the past, or things like that. Maybe that's
Yeah,
what we're
that could be
talking
it.
about.
Like we're seeing possibilities, right?
Right,
Here are the
maybe.
other timelines. Maybe they're gonna do multiverse, like
Oh
Indiana Jones
God.
multiverse, like everything everywhere all at once. Anyway, we'll see.
Maybe Doctor Strange will show up and the Watcher. Maybe the Watcher will be there
There we go.
to point and question. Just like I think the Watcher showed up at Donald Trump's indictment this week.
That's right.
Point.
All right, let's watch The Mandalorian, or let's go through the episode rather and talk about it. Wow, what an episode overall! This is just this show continues to just do crazy, go in completely wacko directions, unexpected directions. So yeah,
It's
I really liked it.
You like this one?
Oh yeah.
See, I liked it too. It's bonkers, but you know, we're along for the ride. The season's not over yet. You're allowed to have a bonkers episode every now and again, but I'm definitely hearing I'm hearing divided opinions on this one, maybe more than the other. Yeah,
okay.
And I think it centers around, and even this term is fraught with insinuations, but stunt casting.
Yeah, well, I kind of figured that would be the issue. It's either you're in on who's in it, or you're not. And I was in. I was excited to see him. Although I didn't know who the second person was. We'll get to it in a second.
Yeah.
Let's start with this opening scene where we have a Quarren ship. This is like our first real good look at the Quarren, who we did see in previous. They showed, it's funny because at the beginning they showed the recap and they showed like a scene from last season where they're kidnapped or where they were captured by these pirates and they were Quarren pirates. These are the guys with little tentacle faces, who are, I mean, from my knowledge, just from reading old Star Wars, they live on the same planet as the calamari, correct? Or something like that. They're in the same system. They don't get along with the calamari. They're kind of enemies or whatever. That's what I remember reading about. And in this situation, we see this ship, it turns out, it's a kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation, I guess, with a calamari and a Quarren couple. And I guess it's a prince who needs to go back. It's hilarious because you heard the story a million times before, but just to see it in this context is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It's very. I love the intro. I thought it was funny. I actually thought though that there was going to be a dark ending, and I thought that the Mandalorian crew was going to blow up the ship. I thought they were going to kill everybody. We've extracted this person, and now now we're going to blow up you. And it also was a bait and switch because it made us think that crew was the one that got Moff Gideon in the previous episode. And there's no indication that it is. It still could be, but I think probably not. So they did a couple things in that opening scene. I love the water tank that vanishes. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's how that works.
She gets to chill in the water. Yeah. Like, the other ones have to stay in the air, but she's captain. She gets a little bit of a luxury, and she gets a little snack, a little fish snack, while she's waiting. So it is the Mandalorian. So it's the people who abandoned Bo-Katan. It's the British dude and these people who were around at the beginning when we first met Bo-Katan, but now they're off. His name is Axe Woves.
Yes.
This is the guy who's in charge. They never wear their helmets, apparently. These guys are all like helmetless all the time. So, but they basically say, we're here to get the prince. We can't let you guys go. We have to do our jobs. And it's all very civil.
Well, they kind of do come off as being assholes, though, like kind of assholes of the galaxy. Like you could just, and they said, our honor is available for a price is basically what they're saying, which is we have no honor. We're just, we're bounty hunters for hire. And this, you have to accept that this is what we're doing because people have hired us to do it.
Yeah, we are kid. All it takes is a few credits. That's what
that's right.
says. So that's, I guess. So, and that's kind of goes with like what Boba Fett did, right? And he was a Mandalorian and he just was a bounty hunter and just did that for money, and that was it. It was not about anything else, right? And this episode's called Guns for Hire, but it really, I guess, the Guns for Hire are Mando and Bo-Katan as they come into this domed city, and they get asked to do something else. So they are here to, I guess the Mandalorians are the Guns for Hire, but also these guys are as well.
Yeah. And that's when we see the scene. The scene, it's like out of Alice in Wonderland. It's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Basically, when we walk in.
Yeah, I've got it going on here. They're just coming in. They get taken over by this automated system. They want to they have a plan to go in there quiet, just approach the fleet because they see the fleet sitting there. But no, they get an automatic system takes them over and puts them in a port. We have a cool. For a second there, I thought it was R2D2 3PO as they get out of the ship, but it's Imperial versions of them. So it's an Imperial droid and an Imperial black R2D2 basically. So that's kind of cool. And then basically they say, okay, keep going on and take the subway to the palace, and they're expecting you. So they do.
Yeah, now all that stuff's pretty cool. It's a cool landscape. The city's cool, and the part outside the dome is cool. It's just kind of a neat little, nice little different kind of city. At first I thought it was the Gungans when I saw the domes, but it is not.
That's right. And you're right. It is like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party because we have Jack Black and Lizzo at the head of the table of just a crazy collection of aliens, including our frog creature that we had. Remember the mother and the frog baby that was in there? Yeah. I hope you like secretions, he says. Oh, it's so funny. So you're saying Jack Black, people didn't like that Jack Black and Lizzo were in it?
Well, there's one school of thought that it's stunt casting designed to attract views of the show instead of actually being right for the plot. But I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was, I was very happy to see Jack Black. I wasn't sure right away that was Lizzo either, and I was not bothered by either of their appearances. I think, like, when you're dealing with, like, it would be different if they had, like, if they, like Macy Gray and Spider-Man showing up on the right show, but and it's Macy Gray, and she's selling her record on the float while Spider-Man's fighting Green Goblin. That to me is a bridge too far. But this is not that. This is something. These are actors.
Jack Black's new movie opened this weekend, Mario Brothers. It's in theaters right now.
Everyone says it's garbage.
My kids went and saw it.
Did they like it?
Did you guys like the Mario movie? Yeah, they said they liked it.
Well, so it is garbage.
No, but I think it was. I mean, who knows how they plan these things? But I have no problem with Jack Black being in it. He's a good actor. Yeah. He's excellent in whatever he does. So I have no problem. He's a character. He fits the character because he looks like this crazy guy. He's this former Imperial, whatever. So there's this cool kind of story. Baby Yoda flips over there. Grogu likes them, so he kind of trusts them immediately because Grogu trusts them. And so then we all kind of are on board with these guys.
Yeah, very much so. And I thought I liked the oh, sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, she's interrupting.
Did you talk?
Shannon's interrupting.
Did you talk to him about the bald thing?
No, what was your joke about bald people?
They're really angry at.
Bald people are angry at the world?
Yeah, because they're jealous.
What's the joke?
The joke is that bald. She just said in general. She's talking about one of her teachers who's bald, and said that bald people are just angry at the world.
I think she's thinking of white people.
White people.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, you. Okay, go. Let me finish the podcast, okay? All right.
Anyway. Bald people are angry at the world.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the casting. I get what they're saying, but it just, now we can expect everybody wants to be a part of the show. Everybody wants, it's just nonstop. It was the same thing with Ted Meadows last week for me.
Yeah.
Right? We're just expecting now, and every week we're going to have, and I think the next big reveal was the bigger stunt casting than this. Well, if you could call it that. But again, another great actor, Christopher Lloyd, is in it. And at first it was like, is that Christopher Lloyd? Because they didn't punch in close. They were like far away, and my eyesight isn't great anyway. So I'm like, is that Christopher? The voice is so familiar that it was Christopher Lloyd. So I'm getting ahead of myself. They are tasked with, the problem here is that there's droids malfunctioning. Wow, this is not an original idea. Droids malfunctioning. They have repurposed all the battle droids. So they kind of tied in the prequels. They got those battle droids as just general labor. And now they're malfunctioning and killing people and all this other stuff. So they're asking Mando and Bo-Katan to figure out what's going on, and then they'll let them talk to the Mandalorians who are guarding the planet. Why don't they ask these Mandalorians to take care of this?
The ones that are already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a few questions about with some of the details like that, and even the part about we need to get into the city so we can get out of the city to meet with these Mandalorians on the other side or something. And so you need the tractor beam to pull them in. You need a bunch of things to happen to make the story happen. And so you kind of accept that. You sort of accept, okay, that's where we are. And I do like the line where where they're like, if there's no guns allowed here, how come you let us in with our guns? And he goes, see where I'm going with this kind of thing. I thought that was pretty funny. And I thought at first it seems sinister, but then you meet Jack Black and you think it's kind of funny. And he's kind of a ridiculous character. There's nothing for them. So there's nothing really for them to be doing here. So they just kind of have these weird tea parties and I guess play croquet, as we learn later. They play,
Right, yeah.
and so they're just kind of this regal. And I'll bet anything that we will return to this planet sometime in the future,
Oh, yeah.
and to these characters. I like it's bound to happen, But I kind of like that, and I do think there is a reason that there's prequel droids there. There's a reason he's there, having been in the Empire. There's a reason Christopher Lloyd is there, as we learn later. And I like how that kind of all comes together.
Yeah, I agree. It's it is like the droids malfunctioning is kind of obvious, but and I think maybe where it ultimately goes is a bit obvious. I think I saw a couple of people talking about how they kind of see where it was going, but the process is fun. The story is fun. They have to go and investigate these droids. They basically go around. We see all these the security footage and you see that droid with all the cleavers.
Yeah.
He just chopped all those people up and now.
And by the way, this episode is like CSI Mandalore.
Yeah.
Right. or Law and Order. Like there's like a lot of the Law and Order tropes where you see some footage and you go investigate and people they're at work and they're not really.
Yeah, because they have to go. The first episode, they have to go talk to the Ugnaughts, the guys who repair the droids, and they're just ignoring them until Mando starts talking to them very directly, the way that our friend Queel talked. And he just says, "I am friend of Queel," and I guess they know who he is because they all stop and look at him and pay attention. So he's like, you have to talk to them a certain way. So they go to the Ugnaughts and sit down and have they have another cup of tea with the Ugnaughts to talk about what's going on with the droids.
Yeah, and it's I saw someone online say, and I thought the Ugnaught with the hairpiece looked something like Walter Matthau. I was like, what actor does that look like? And he looks like Walter Matthau to me. I saw somebody online say that's the voice of Mark Hamill, but I have not seen any confirmation of that anywhere. Do we know if that's the voice of Mark Hamill?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's popping up everywhere. It wouldn't be surprising if he just came in and did a little thing. But
it wouldn't surprise me if somebody thought it was him and it's not.
Yeah.
Also. So it could be either one.
People are going to be dissecting every frame of this, right? And going through all these droids. There's so many different droids in the scene, and they're fixing up all these droids. But they do finally get some information from these guys who say, here's where the next one is going to happen, basically. I don't know. They kind of figured out how these droids are malfunctioning or some kind of pattern to it.
Right. They're investigating why these droids are malfunctioning. They need to figure it out. And Mando kicking the robot's fun, and
awesome.
and the chase is pretty fun. And we didn't know the battle droids could run so fast. So that's
I was confused as why it's taking off. Like why all of a sudden it should just go. I guess it got scared or something. I don't know. But yeah, he's just like kicking him, pushing him, and the little the other droid, those and we haven't really heard that voice since the prequels either.
No.
Of the little hey, how's it going?
Roger
droid. So there's a nice throwback. And there's a nice chase after this. They have to chase after the droid, and he's running away. That's all he's doing is running away, and they're chasing him down. So Mando finally takes him down. But there's a nice. It was kind of exciting.
We get digital police tape
going
up, and we get and they investigate. They examine the body. There's a droid saying everybody step back. It's funny. It's right out of CSI or Law and Order for sure.
And they find a spark pad, which is like a matchbook, whatever that is. A spark pad is something for droids to use, but it has the name of a bar, a droid bar.
Yeah.
So they have to go to a droid bar, which is also kind of fun because this is the opposite of the Mos Eisley Cantina, right? Did we see this before, or was this something we were talking about in the trailer?
No, there was. Yeah, this was in the trailer, but then there was a similar scene in Book of Boba Fett where there's the droid has replaced the human in the bar. And it's so this is an example of like we learn it's kind of a sad story about the droids really in this bar, and we have a little, it's almost the reverse of our world where robots and AI are taking over. And there, it's the reverse, and the robots are being put to rest. And so they want to continue having their jobs and continue justifying their existence.
Right, and they're okay with working for humans. They say like we're okay with we last longer than they do, basically.
Yeah.
And we're happy to do their bidding as long as we can do our thing. So it's kind of, you get a little bit of the droid's philosophy in life. I feel like this bartender droid was a celebrity cameo for some reason. There was more expression in this voice.
Oh, yeah,
usually.
maybe.
But yeah, it was basically they go through they question the bartender droid and they're like, we want to help. Mando tries going bad cop right away. He's just like, I'm gonna yank out your memory circuits. He's like, I'm just gonna tear you apart. And then Bo-Katan is like, okay, just back up, buddy. Let me do it my way.
He said,
right?
you can't reason with the droid.
Right,
and then she said
He's
that
so
all they
racist.
have is reason. Yeah.
He's so droid racist. He really is. He has been the whole time.
Yep. And yet he's very he works wonders with other cultures like the Ugnaughts. He's just and of course when he was a kid he was chased down by these battle droids and stuff. That's why
why he hates him. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So that makes sense.
So they do reason with them and they do figure out that they have to that this, what is it? Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about, nepenthe. We find out the droids don't drink alcohol, they drink nepenthe, which is like a lubricant. But I think they use that same word on Star Trek. I'm pretty sure that was the same planet that Riker and Deanna Troi lived on after they left the Enterprise, nepenthe. But it sounds like, what's that other stuff? Absinthe. It sounds like absinthe. It sounds like something that...
I looked up the word. It's a real word.
Okay.
It's an actual word. I can't remember what it means, but I was looking it up to see if Star Wars invented the word or who invented it, but it's a real word that dates back. And I think it does pertain to like an elixir that causes comfort or something like that. It's a like why don't I look it up right now?
Yeah, they've taken the droid. They're at the they're doing the autopsy on the droid. And they've got the mortician there, or whoever this person that's helping them out. And they take these particles. They're basically drawing blood. It's kind of cool. You're right. This is totally CSI. This is Star Wars CSI. They're drawing blood. They're doing the autopsy. They're figuring out that these particles are still present in the system. The autopsy droid freaks out, starts shooting lasers all over the place until Mando takes it out with the Darksaber. That was crazy. And then they do figure out that the culprit is Christopher Lloyd. It's the security chief. He has programmed these things to make the droids malfunction. And then I guess he contaminated the nepenthe and just basically so there would be random attacks around the city. And what is his plan here? What is he doing this?
He's a separatist supporter.
Right.
He loves Count. He says Count Dooku. He had it figured out. And what I love about that is just when his speech was getting interesting, Bo-Katan gives him an electric shock, and he falls to the floor. So we don't get a chance to hear his political dogma past the words Count Dooku. So I thought that was great. I love that. Like, yeah, we heard enough. That's all we need.
He gets banished to some moon. Now he has to live off so we'll probably never hear from him again.
By the way, I looked up nepenthe, and yes, indeed, it is a potion used by the ancients to induce forgetfulness of pain or sorrow, or something capable of causing oblivion of grief or suffering. So that's what the word means. Yeah, and I did, when I Googled it, 2 pictures come up, Star Wars and Star Trek. So I think you're right about that. Yeah.
They both used it. Yeah. What the hell, guys?
It's a good word.
In the same week, it was this week's Picard.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
No, this week's Picard. Although they may have used it in the previous season, whenever we first saw it, because we saw Riker and Troy in season 1 of Picard. So whatever planet, they may have said it back then, but that is the name of the planet where they live, where Riker has his stone pizza oven.
Right.
So we see
the stone pizza oven. I remember that from season 1.
Yeah. So we get the key to the city, or the key to this planet, the whole planet, I guess, the domed paradise. And so they'll always be welcome. And they're finally allowed to go see the rest of the Mandalorians.
I like baby Grogu helps the croquet ball. He like everybody, he instantly loves Lizzo. There's no problem. I was worried that they left him I was worried they'd come back and Lizzo would have put wigs on him, or like
Yeah.
or like basically the big sister abusing the kid
Yeah.
with whatever they have in mind. Like, you're gonna wear these clothes, you're gonna do this. But he seems to really like Lizzo. He waves goodbye to her. She knights him.
Yeah.
So which I thought was funny. And even the Mandalorian looks at it like, what the hell? Like, that's not the kind of knight he is. He's a Jedi.
Well, he's a
that's
Mandalorian.
right, a Mandalorian / Jedi. But so I love that he's knighted. He's baby Sir Baby Grogu. And so that was fun as well. I like the literal key to the city. That's pretty good. Like, it actually looks like it can unlock things.
Yeah.
So maybe we will return. And you're right. Then it's time. We say goodbye, but I don't think it's not farewell forever to these two characters. I think we're going to see them again.
Yeah, me too.
One way or another. Yeah.
And yeah, I agree that. Well, I don't think that I don't think it's stunt casting. I just think it's casting people who want to be involved. Jack Black's agent calls himself. He wants to be involved. We got a great role for Jack. Okay, get him in here. And it just kind of coincidence that it happened to be the same weekend as this big movie. Okay, so now they are going to. They've got a lot of ships here. They got a couple Star Destroyers. And all these fighters, they're all basically the same as Bo-Katan's. And I realize now that those are kind of a precursor to, I think it's Kylo Ren's ship, hey? They look a little bit like Kylo Ren's ship.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think those are Star Destroyers, though. Those are just they're big ships for sure. And and it is a very impressive fleet that they've got set up there. That's for sure.
Yeah, so they're just chilling, having a coffee outside as they do. It looks like he's drinking beer, actually. But then they're going to come up and try to, I don't know, I guess bring them back on board here, but they have to have a fight first.
Yeah, I mean, so we know what's going to happen here. I think some Star Wars fans thought that the episode was a long way to go to get to this ending of the episode, but I didn't mind it. And once again, I think I'm always very reluctant to say anything about the pacing of a Mandalorian show when you can't really tell how it fits in until the end. That's part of what makes the show so interesting to watch, is that I remember a couple episodes in first season where people are like, it's just mission of the week or something, but it wasn't. It just took it wove its tapestry. Season 2 was not dissimilar from that. And I think just people are really interested in these characters, or we want to see these characters do these things, but that's not how this show works. This show will take its time getting where it's going, and you'll get the stuff and you'll be rewarded for it, but it's not a show that goes from point A to point B quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes, like to get to the Mandalore, it did. Other times it does not. And I think that's what keeps us surprised and guessing about where this show might go.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's. I lost my train of thought. I'm distracted by this fight that's going on. So she's challenging the guy now. They're fighting with their rocket packs. They still didn't put their helmets on. So Mando's the only one in the scene without a helmet, or with a helmet on. But they're fighting over who's going to be the leader, I guess. She's challenging him for leadership of this group. Holy shit! He's throwing rockets all over the place. They're just basically like launching at each other with their rocket packs, right?
It's a good fight.
It is. She gets him a few times. Like she's got him a couple different ways.
She beats him. That guy gets hammered in a way that probably he wouldn't stand up at the end and be able to talk. He'd be winded at the very least.
Yeah. Flamethrower. We got the shield. She's got a knife to his throat. Basically, she beats him again, and he says, You can't be our leader. You don't have the Darksaber. You won't even fight him for it, right? So then we get into the loophole. I was gonna say this is a bit of a loophole. Like they got them through. They got them into the city through a loophole. You're Mandalorians. You guys, you carry your weapons with you, so you're allowed to have them. This is a loophole as well, where Mando basically says, "Well, she defeated the thing that defeated me, so she gets the saber." Right? That's kind of, he has a little bit of workaround in logic so she should be the one who has the Darksaber.
That occurred to me when we were during that episode.
Oh yeah,
where he lost it. I thought, and then she came to save him and was using it. I thought, yeah, it's game over. She's got it now. Like it or not, she has it, and she's going to release you with it. and that's it. You can't, now you have to challenge her to get it back, sort of thing, if that's what you want. And she's a great user of the dark saber and everything else, but it is a technicality in the sense that you don't have to overtly state that I'm challenging you for the dark saber, and that the creature down there didn't state that. In fact, it didn't even care about it, just let it sit in the thing. So for that 3 hours or whatever, however long it was, that spider guy was the leader of Mandalore. Is that
I
what we're
guess so.
supposed to, like, it's like
Yeah.
the vice president when the president gets a little anesthetic?
Yep.
And the vice president's president for an hour. So I don't know if I fully buy it, but it did cross my mind, and I did think that her saving him with the dark saber was pretty compelling in terms of now it's yours. So
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I'm just wondering about Din's timing on this, where it's like, if you knew this and if you thought this, like you're waiting what, for her birthday?
No, he's
To
waiting
give
for
it
now.
to her?
He's waiting to use it to convince these people that she's their leader. So that's what he wanted to do in front of them, so they could see that he's giving it back, that she is the true leader. He is returning it to the owner. And even this guy has to admit, oh yeah, that makes sense. So they're all kind of on board with this.
Yeah, whoever has the dark saber commands the Mandalorians, and they appear ready to honor that. Sort of, they're at the ready. And even Bo-Katan said earlier in the season, you just wave the dark saber around and everybody follows you.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And that appears to still be the case. I think after this episode, it is far less likely that any Mandalorians took Moff Gideon out of that shuttle. It's far more likely that they're being framed for something, or that somebody used the Beskar as a smokescreen so nobody will discover who actually released Moff Gideon. I just think it's, if they would have taken Moff Gideon, it would have been in this episode where we would have seen him, I think.
Yeah, I didn't really think it was them to begin with. I just thought it was a red herring, and that it was going to be. I think you're right about the Beskar. Someone's using it either to frame them, or they've discovered how to use Beskar against them, and that's what we'll find out. You're right. I agree, and you've been pretty on for this season. I think you've been making some good calls as far as these stories go. So
yeah, but who can predict? You can't predict when Jack Black and Lizzo show up. Like there's just some things that are unpredictable. So.
Well, apparently it got out beforehand. There were spoilers out there, but people thought it was an April Fool's joke because it was so out there that it seems like an April Fool's joke, right? Like, oh, sure, Jack Black and Lizzo, sure, right?
Well, yeah, like it does make you. Oh, but you know what? It also just reminds me. Remember, Samuel L. Jackson lobbied to be in Star Wars, and he was a known
he's
actor.
Huge at the time.
Huge, yeah. If anything, people thought, oh, Samuel Jackson's going to take away from it because we know who he is and blah, blah, blah. And then there was no problem afterwards. I guess Liam Neeson's not different. Natalie Portman.
I mean, all those, the entire cast were established actors. Like the days of casting no names, I guess they did it for The Force Awakens a bit. But those days, I think, are gone. And we can see the who's who of Hollywood starring in Star Wars for years to come now.
Right, exactly. I think we can't be too precious about casting. Now, it'd be different, as I said, it'd be different if it's Miley Cyrus playing her hit at a bar or something, and you're just like, oh God, like that would be too much. But I think if it's an actor playing a role, I'm along for the ride, as long as there isn't, they're not looking at the screen and winking and stuff as we go along, right?
Yeah. Cool. Well, that was fun. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great episode. I'm looking forward to next week. Anything else? Any final thoughts before we go?
What do you think about next week? What's on tap, do you think?
Well, now they have to go back to now they have to get the rest of the Mandalorians. They're going to bring the fleet back to the planet, the horrible planet where they are. I guess they're on Navarro now.
Yeah.
So they're going to go back to Navarro, hook up with the other Mandalorians, and then all go back to Mandalore to take out the spider people. I think we're going to see those guys again. I think I feel like when we saw the recap, it kind of dwelled on the eye of that thing, looking at Mando like, ooh, what's this all about? Like it was, there's something more to that whole spider creature thing. So we'll see that, and that's probably where it's going to go next week.
We need to liberate Mandalore. We need to see a mythosaur, get on a mythosaur. I'm not sure. We need something that I'm not even sure who they're liberating the planet from, since
Right.
it looks desolate. We've got the hint of Imperials out there. We know Thrawn's in Ahsoka. Where will the reveal be? There's so much, and only 2 episodes left, right? I think only 2.
Mhm.
So the last 2 should be really something. Which, by the way, coincides with the end of our school year. The last 2
Awesome.
episodes. Yeah.
Perfect.
And the other thing is we have to watch Star Wars Celebration all weekend to see if anything else comes out, and probably something will.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Yeah, that's going on
Yeah.
all weekend. It's just started, right? Today's Friday, so it's probably just underway.
Yeah, just started on the Easter long weekend. We got a little Star Wars Celebration. How about that?
That's nice.
Yeah, nice little bit of maybe the rabbit from the Star Wars comic, Jackson. Is that his name, Jackson?
Yeah,
Maybe he'll make an appearance on Sunday.
You've got that figure, don't you? Have that action figure?
I do have that figure, yes.
Awesome. All right, well, let's wrap it up there. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Badebacher.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
I'm taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?